Hey you guys, welcome back to Southern Latitudes. I'm Robin, and today I came up with a perfect topic to talk to you guys about. I thought it'd be great to come up with some gardeners' New Year's resolutions. And so it's just my resolution, doesn't have to be yours, but perhaps you will glean something that inspires you to take away from it and make it your own resolution. So I have 3 points for you if I don't get long-winded and off track. But anyhow, make sure you are, number one, fully equipped. Think about your space. Do you want to do raised gardens? Do you want to garden in ground? Do you want something more like a food forest, or you just not into the vegetables, or you're really into the vegetables and you would rather do, in-ground garden beds? Do you have a little space? Are you working off of patio or a small backyard, or are you talking about acres? Okay, these are normal things. You want to be fully equipped for the job that you're going to do. What kind of varieties do you think that you're going to want to put in your garden? I mean, for me, I'm not a big fan of beets, so beets never seems to make it to the order list for seeds. Now's the time to be also thinking about your tools. What might you need? Most of you probably already have your little trowels and rakes and shovels and things like that, the common things, but maybe it's time to think about, like, what makes this job easier. Is it going to be getting a cultivator? Maybe not. Maybe it's putting in a compost bin. Maybe it's like a hori made a big difference in my life. It's just this little thing. You pull back the soil and drop your plants in, but if you're doing a few hundred plants, it's an awesome tool to have. So make sure you're equipped and you're thinking about these things. Make lists for yourself if you're like me, because I can squirrel and forget, and then I come out here every day going, oh, I forgot again, I forgot again, I forgot again. So be fully equipped. Make lots of notes in the evening while there's still a lot of evening, and the sun is setting very early. With every new season, and this 2025 and spring is no exception to that, with every new season there's new hope. I'm just gonna, hypothetically, I'm thinking about me, you're tilling something and it's fresh, and you're layering compost on it, you're layering new plants in there, everything looks great and it's weed free. It's just a lot of hope going into each plant that you put in the ground and transplant, or each seed that you put into the seedling tray, and that you watch growing from a little baby all the way up to hopefully producing food for you. But you know what? We just need to remember, and we need to put it in our game plan, in our resolution for 2025, that we know there's going to be bugs coming. We know that there's ants are going to crawl up, and they're going to go after the city mold and the honeydew, and they're just going to create that black soot stuff all over your citrus. I mean, you might have ants and other places that sting you, like we just have really bad ants here in Florida. Perhaps you're going to have squash bugs. You're going to have worms. Worms are good. Don't freak out over worms or bees or wasps. Really, I have to learn to accept and expect that I'm going to be stung at least once a year in my yard. And it's never the honeybees, it's always the wasps that get me, because they hide really well. They're on the under leaves of, I've found them on the under leaves of bananas, under turmeric. They go between the little slats in my fence, between where the wood goes this way and where the cross beams. They love to go up in there. And I'll be like pruning something, not even really messing with it, anything I think is a problem, and I start getting stung. And I have been stung here, I've been stung here. The wasps love the face. So anyhow, be equipped with things like, even go out and buy yourself, start now, have it in the house already. I don't know if you need an EpiPen. I don't know if you just need a home remedy for your bee stings. Perhaps you are allergic to poison ivy and Virginia creeper and other things like I am. And so I have a special poison ivy kit inside my house. As soon as I take a hit or find that I've rubbed up against those vines or leaves, I run in the house and I start scrubbing that area with, it's sort of an abrasive soap. And then, and I tried to do my best to be equipped for the growing season. So I thought that would be a really good thing. I've got to go through and make sure I have all enough of that. I need to go through my seed box, make sure I have enough seeds. I made a list last night of all the, I'm going to need some, growing, potting soil, yes, but also seedling, starting soil. I'm going to need compost. I'm going to need, amendments, blood meal, bone meal, potash, uh, I think I have enough azomite too. I think I have a lot of that still. But those are all things, depending on how you're going to grow, it depends, it's your list is going to be different than my list, but this can be our New Year's resolution together, that we're thinking ahead of things we have so they're already in place for when you want to start gardening. If you can afford it. I understand if you just want to pay as you go. Make sure your pruners are in good working order. Clean them off. Give them a little love before the start of a season. I'm terrible. The other day I did all that pruning, and then I thought afterwards I did not clean my pruners between trees. And it happens. I didn't see anything with a lot of disease, so I hope I'm okay. But, that's another thing to do while, there's not much to do. I know we're going to have a really cold snap next week. So these are things you can take inside even and do and clean while you're just sitting in front of the TV. And so now we're to point number 2. I want you to know that you're definitely going to have to put in a lot of effort if you want to get any food. I mean, sweating is obvious. We're in Florida. I'm in Florida. And, even if you're up north, you're going to sweat if you put in a garden. That's the obvious stuff. It's a no-brainer that heat is coming, and that heat is coming to steal, kill, and destroy. It will bring in disease. It'll bring in molds, funguses, bugs. It'll just, destroy. Things get thirsty, and it'll just kill everything. But so that means if you're going to put in all this effort to try to grow something, make sure you start on time. Look up your last frost date and make sure you're starting that time, or even like a week or two ahead, inside a greenhouse or inside your kitchen or your living room. Maybe you have a little shelf off of in your bedroom or guest room. Who knows what that looks like for you. But start a little early. Get something up and going and germinated. And if you're going to direct sow, so you're doing cucumbers or squash or peas or beans, those are all good things to direct sow. Make sure you already have them bought and you're ready to go ahead and get them in the ground. Be sure to start with a plan. Every good gardener starts with a plan. Just like God had a plan for you and me, we should have a plan for our vegetables to be growing and our fruit trees. I mean, they have their own plans, so I have lots of plans, but I make sure that I have all the plans in place. I know what I'm doing. Again, going back to I'm equipped. I have all the necessary copper fungicide. I have whatever tools I need to be ready for when they get going. I know that as soon as I put an onion in the ground, hopefully your onions are already in the ground, but they're gonna need ammonium sulfate after that for fertilizing schedule. Be sure that you have educated yourself and that you have put in the effort into reading and understanding. And that's a big thing for me, is I'm reading a lot. I'm always reading. I'm always watching YouTube. I watch things like if there's something I'm out here and presenting to you on a video, like I've got a new seed starting. I don't know how it starts, but I look it up. I research. I do my due diligence, and I get it all prepared for you guys. And hopefully it sticks with me, and I'm prepared from every year now to every year going forward. Another thing you might want to do is get a plant app. I bought a plant app about a year and a half ago, and I'm flipping that phone out all the time, taking pictures. I have something now. I don't know what it was. It came up in the container. It wasn't what I put in the container as far as plants and flowers, but I put it in. It's getting bigger and bigger. I need a plant app. I need to know what in the world. It told me it's borage. Now, I don't remember planting borage, But I did try to plant borage last fall, earlier in the fall, and it didn't work. So perhaps when I turn, if something didn't grow, I recycle my soil, and maybe this time it found its happy place and the borage decided to take. So not only do I have borage that I intentionally planted, but the borage that I thought didn't work is now coming up. But so get yourself a plant app. Be very careful, a little word of warning, be so careful about the information you get off of Facebook. And I've been a victim of this as well, but I watch it now that I'm more experienced. I watch this go down where people ask a question, what is this? And sometimes you have a knowledgeable person come in, and that's great. But sometimes you have people just throwing out whatever, nematodes. No, it's not always nematodes. And nematodes aren't always your enemy. I mean, yes, sometimes they go after things like loofah and tomatoes and whatever, eggplants. I don't know. I'm just saying, nematodes is not always the nemesis. And people get things wrong a lot off of Facebook gardening groups. So be super careful. One time I went to a website, I'll tell you another example. My Mexican cream guava, I've been leaving it and let it just be real big. And then because I thought I read that it blooms on old wood. Well, then I watched something else and find out it really blooms on new wood. And sure enough, I trimmed that thing and boom, blooms. So anyhow, just be super careful, put in your effort so you'll have a wonderful garden this year. And point number 3 that I have, and it might have some sub points in there, but I wanted to tell you that growing makes us useful and fruitful, not just in the yard, but with a lot of knowledge and stuff. I want to encourage you to experiment on something, try something new, I love watching David the Good's children. They are crossbreeding watermelons and other things. Don't be afraid to try to extend your growing season. Maybe I know I started squash here, and the season is not usually very good for fall. It's usually a bit better, and we had hurricanes, and I planted late, and I did all sorts of things. But you know what? We've had the best squash season I've had in many years. And it's not just, it is the horse manure and the chicken manure, but it's not. It's also, I'm not seeing as much powdery mildew this year. It's just now starting to happen. And I don't know, we've eaten a lot of squash, but push those limits and don't be afraid of freezes and stuff, because some things go through freezes. A lot of your herbs, a lot of your winter greens, your peas, your broccoli, your cauliflower, the brassicas, a lot of those, and your onions, they all go through the light freezes. And even some can go down to 15. That's a pretty hard freeze. And so forth. There's some things that can, and celery, oh my goodness, people don't know you can grow celery in Florida. I've grown it for years now. It grows excellent. Push those boundaries, expand your knowledge, and become more useful to yourself by expanding that knowledge that you're getting with each passing year of growing out here. There was a time I was extremely afraid of grafting. I tried grafting many years ago on my avocado tree, and it was just a huge failure. And then like 2.5 years ago, I was reintroduced into grafting through apples and apple growing. And of course, the other fruit trees, now I have a pluot graft on my plum. So, and I'm at least 50% successful, and that's more successful than I was before. So, I'm really equipping myself with more knowledge and becoming more useful as a gardener. And that in turn leads me to the next part, which is be more helpful to your neighbor, your friend. Somebody's like seeing you garden and seeing the benefit of your extra vegetables and you eating healthier. And, maybe you post on social media like me, and you have a brag picture about your harvest. Give some away, bless somebody else. And if you grow extra transplants, give some of those transplants away. There's always, and cuttings, oh my goodness, cuttings cost you nothing to give away. And so that's a really great way I'm resolved. I should talk in me's and not you's, but it's a great way for me to share this beauty that I have. I've been blessed so immensely with this side lot. It came at such a great time, and then we had a nest egg going for another project, but we used it to, clear the land, put the fence up, get going. Jack got me a tiller for Christmas. He's, bought me other things for birthdays and, anniversaries. So I've been blessed that way. And then in turn, I'm not only doing the things I just mentioned, but, able to give garden tours, able to share and expand others' knowledge and give them the encouragement they need. And I need to do more of that, open up my yard and my backyard and house, even house hospitality, but be more hospitable to others to come in and learn about gardening. You're sharing in the beauty of your yard, but you're also benefiting from the beauty of your yard. Sometimes the silence of just getting out of the house and away from the TV and radio and just noise. Maybe you have a house full of children or a house full of people in general or company. And the garden is my refuge. And I plan on doing that more and sharing the quietness. And I have to tell you, I had the greatest experience. And back when I was going through all that difficulty with the trees, I stood out on that mound where the pine had just been removed, and I just was freshly raw from the guys leaving the day before and not finishing the job. And it was raining. Of course, it was like August, so everything was raining, but it was raining, and I had to move the mulch, and it was hot, so the rain actually felt pretty good. And I had tears of just like cleansing tears, not joy, not even so much pain, although I released a lot of pain. But I'm resolved to do more of that in my garden, however that looks to you. Sometimes it's prayer walking for me. Sometimes it's just yelling at the sky. I hope my neighbors don't think I'm crazy. And then it was just like tears. But there's also tears of joy, out here too. And that's a really cool thing. And yesterday at my church and during the sermon for New Year's resolutions, and it was similar things like this, but he used a couple gardening analogies, which then spurred on my thought for this whole video. And he said something about, we learn a lot more in the valleys than we do on the mountaintops. And gardening also provides plenty of valleys for us to learn. I learned more about my character gardening than I have anywhere else. Life is tough and everything, but I have it pretty good. We have it good in America. We can rent a grocery store. We can, jump in a car. We can take a vacation. We can do a lot of things. But, so maybe, there are hardships. I'm not dismissing that. But I'm saying when I'm out here and I'm sweating and things don't go good, I'm really learning to push myself. There's times, after a compost day and I can't move the next day, that, I'm learning things in those valleys. Maybe it's personal. Maybe it's not even about the garden. I learned a lot about my fibromyalgia through gardening. Eating healthier, eating without chemicals and preservatives, whole foods. I've also learned, how much to push my body, how much not to. There's a lot of things that I'm learning through the valleys out here. And of course the mountaintops are great, and I share those because, those end up in YouTube, they end up in Instagram posts, they end up, just being part of what I share. I want to be a positive encouragement, but, not always the negative, but I have to say, I cherish those valleys and those teachable moments where it has molded me and shaped me into a better person. Not just a better gardener, but a whole person. So I hope you see this as a friendly challenge that we're going to turn the page into a new year, and we're going to make ourselves better gardeners, better people, with each subsequent year. And, you know, we're just gonna roll with the punches if you have to, but just know that you're gonna get better at it year after year, and you might find that you're, you know, able to help others. Don't be preoccupied with self and maybe lacking of self-esteem, okay? Don't pursue things that are meaningless. And, you know, I'm talking of, well, I could name a lot of vices. Gardening is so healthy for you. And when you, sometimes people are trying to, for New Year's resolutions, they're trying to give up something. Maybe it's food, maybe it's alcohol, maybe it's some other addiction, maybe it's going to the gym and working out, which the garden definitely has those benefits as well. You know, actually I used to pay a gym membership, and I decided it was better for me just to be out here and moving different muscles different days. And it just actually worked pretty well for me. But, you know, pursue this passion with high expectations for it being more than just food, and not just looking inward at itself, but everything else around you. I hate being just in four walls, right? You know, I can really appreciate God's beauty out here as I hear the birds chirp, and I see the rain coming and the clouds, and I'm even noticing airplanes now. My husband's been in aviation his whole life, pretty much. But, you know, it's still kind of new for me. And, you know, I look up at the planes. I enjoy that, and enjoy the migration of birds and butterflies, and, you know, even the bugs, knowledge of bugs and plants. And man, it just takes my mind off of self and puts it in a much better place, not only just mentally, but like when you're physically touching dirt and getting in dirt and handling it, there's something in the soil. It's a big long word, I've forgotten it now, but it sends serotonin to your brain, and it makes you a happier person. So, you know, that's a wonderful blessing and fruitful benefit of gardening, besides just the vegetables. It makes you a more useful person to other people if you're not stuck in a rut or depression or in an addiction or something to that nature. But anyhow, you guys, it's been fun hanging out with you today, and I'm thankful that you stayed with me this long to let me share my heart with you. I don't know that my resolution this year in the garden's any different than any other. I saw that question posed on the Row by Row Facebook page. Yeah, I hope to grow a year's worth of tomatoes, but, you know, if that doesn't happen, it's okay. Life's okay, right? I can go to a farmer's market and buy a case of tomatoes. So, you know, there's little things, little goals like that, but I mostly just want this video to be inspiration for you to make your own goals, your own lists. You know, you get out there and you become a better gardener, and you become a better human to the, you know, those around you. So you guys, with that said, thank you. It was a wonderful 2024, and I look forward to 2025 with you guys. Take care, God bless, and I'll see you in the next video.